Alright, so first things first, gotta loosen this guy right here so I can get him off. Well, let me undo this little clip here so the cable is loose. After this guy's loosened, I'm gonna follow underneath and I'm gonna loosen all these so that the cable has play. So I'll use my little Allen right here. Loosen it to the point that the whole mechanism comes off. It's very difficult to do with one hand, by the way. Almost there. A little more. Okay. Hold the screw and hold the bracket so they don't get lost. Okay. And we move on to the next part. And the next part involves undoing everything down here. Up here. I won't bore you with the details, and I'll just continue after they're all taken off. So now, lever is loose. All the cable management is loose, so that the dropper cable right here can go in to the seat post when I undo this and pull the seat post out. So stand by for that. So now, with the lever free so that it can go up into the frame, we grab the dropper post up here. We can remove him from the bike. See? If I hadn't loosened the shifter from the bar, I wouldn't be able to get this guy out of here. So I'm going to rest him right here on my tire. And there's the mechanism with the little barrel nut on it. I'm going to get this out of this guy and insert it into the new dropper. But before I put the new dropper in there, I'm going to do a little cleanup here and put a little bit of lubrication there so it doesn't squeak. So, as we can see, the ferrule is there now, the little nut. And focus, there we go. And it is no longer in the end of my dropper. And this dropper has seen some shit. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get that piece, this guy, in here. But I need both hands for that, so I'm gonna show you what it looks like when it's done. And ladies and gentlemen, when it's done, it looks just like that. See how easy that was? Now before I lower the new post into the seat tube, I'm going to put a little bit of bike grease, use on bearings, threads, seat posts. I'm gonna put a little bit, not a lot, I don't wanna go crazy, just a little bit, so that it prevents dust and dirt from getting in there, and it prevents it from having creaking noises and stuff like that. Once again, it needs 2 hands for that, so stand by. Okay, as you can see from the gloss, I've applied some lubrication to it. So with that being said, let's start sliding this puppy back in there. This is I had a 125 and I'm going to a 150. So ideally, I did the measurements that they asked me for, from here to the from here to seat rail, from here down, from how much is inside the tube, and they said a 150 would work. So I hope so, because that means I can have it all the way flush for maximum maximum droppage. So there she is, all the way down. So with that being said, I'm going to reroute all the cables back and reattach. So stand by. Okay, so now here's the dropper. We got the cable all routed real nice, all the way on up, brackets back on. Also forgot to mention earlier that since you're gonna have the cables and brackets out of the way, perfect time to clean really well the bottom of the down tube. If you're externally routed like I am, you can't get under those cables easily. So there you go. Next step is now reattaching this guy to the bars. Once again, 2 hands, be right back. Right, so as always, there's going to be technical difficulties with an install. And with the dropper installed and the amount of slack, because you know when you have a cable, Jagwire or whatnot, you have a housing and inside is a stainless steel cable. It was trimmed for the old dropper, and the new dropper, where the cable ends and then the inside part comes out, is longer than the old dropper. So then that makes my lever look like this. It functions, but obviously that is no good. I'm hoping that I have enough, God damn, this focus is terrible. If I have enough slack on this tag end that I can loosen this bolt here, this guy, and thread some of that in, which will make the lever naturally rest farther back where it needs to go. Worst case, I'm going to be stuck for a little bit till I can trim. I still have slack in the cable, so it's not like the cable's cut too short, but I'm going to need to cut back some of the jacket so that you have more of the exposed stainless steel wire, so then I would have more of this stainless steel wire to allow this to go back. So I'm going to loosen that bolt and try to see if I can get this to be not so terrible. So stand by. And awesome, the lever is now exactly where I want it, and just enough, I had just enough slack to get it where I needed to go. So moment of truth, there we go. And I haven't taken this off to get to the port to fill it with more air if I want it to make it go up faster. So with that, I'm not going to bore you with the details of taking this off and mounting a saddle, because I'm sure all of you have replaced a saddle. But there you go. I will say that the lever pressure is a little firmer with this post than it was with the RaceFace Aeffect dropper that I had, but it's fine, feels good, and looking forward to using it on the trail. I'll post a little video later with the saddle on it so you guys can see it after I pump it up, but not a big deal. If you don't have to replace the dropper cable, changing the dropper post, no big deal. All right, guys, see you next time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, according to the dropper, it should be inflated to 280 to 300 psi. So I have my shock pump here, and I'm going to find out what it's at and make sure it's where it needs to be. My old dropper didn't use a pneumatic system. It was a hydraulic cartridge, kind of like a disregard the dog in the background, like an office chair. This one, you can pump it up, so if it starts slowing down, you can check to make sure that it didn't lose some air pressure, and you can give it some more air pressure. So I'm one-handed, so I'm going to put the phone pause for a second so I can hook up the pump. And as we can see, it came from factory a lot lower than what it says to do on the side of the post. And I kind of noticed that because it was popping up quick, but not as quick as it should have, especially considering the saddle's not on it yet. So I think, based off this, I'm going to pump it up to 280. And there we go, that's about 280, close enough. So I'm going to go ahead and undo this now. And ladies and gentlemen, Saddle is back on and installed. And here we go. Let's push it back down. And here we go. Much faster.